work for Rudy here, and you just believe me carte blanche. But what's happening now is they're sending a questionnaire to Rudy and saying, well, how do you do? So what I'm saying is that bottom rung, stay on it. Make sure you know that you got a good relationship. If you're not visiting your clients, somebody else is. Word to the wise. Second rung is your socioeconomics. Okay? There's a lot of socioeconomics that are out there. Folks get caught up in this. These are just certifications. Think of them as golf clubs in your bag, if you will. You could tee off with the big burglar, right? And that's great. But you wouldn't putt with it necessarily. You could just be out there for a while sometimes, right? So socioeconomics is that channel that you're trying to drive the work to. Remember, business development at its core is driving the work to you and away from them, right? So my software guys, anybody out here that, I've had this done to me and I've done it to somebody before. You know, I'll say, Charlie, look, trust me, it'll pay for itself later. Just put in there that the company has to be CMMI level 3 or higher. How many people are CMMI level 3 or higher? Man, did I do a good job of beating just you know what I'm saying? So that's what it's about. So when you look at your certification, what you do and how you do it, if you're a woman-owned business, fish in that pond. No sense in you being out there with the big guys. If you're service disabled, makes sense, okay? The third thing I want you guys to concentrate on is your core competencies, okay? Your core competencies are just that. You do one thing really well, okay, maybe you do 2 things really well. You do not do 12 things very well because you would be called Booz Allen or IBM, right? Okay, so you do 1 or 2 things really well, lead with those. That's your core competency, that's what it's all about. What I want to say in that sphere is when you're looking at your core competency, remember your NAICS codes, and I want you to remember it this way. You have a primary code. I highly recommend it's the largest code for the work that you do because you don't want to grow out of that code. But you might market toward the smaller code. Make sense? So my software guys are out there, 541, 513, 519, big code, lot of dollars, being there for a long time. But you might want to go to 611 or 620, which is like a $7 million code, because again, I'm trying to push the word to you and away from them. So when you look at your core competencies, think about your codes and where you're at. The next thing that I tell people to look at is the contract vehicles and schedules of those agencies that they're looking at, okay? Whether the thing that you guys need to do, and I need you to be conscious of, is you gotta make it easy for these guys to get to you and say yes, okay? So if a contracting officer, if an installation is already biased toward their own contract vehicles, for example, you're down there in Huntsville, Alabama, you know, you're doing work for them. That's the Midas contract vehicle. They're not listening to anything else. You got to get on it. You got to get on it as a sub today, a prime tomorrow, whenever it makes sense. But look at the type of work you do. If it's GSA Schedule 70, get it. And the reason you want to do this is this is why you want to do it. Over the course of a life cycle of an opportunity, the less time the government has, the more value the schedule has. Make sense? I don't have 6 months to go through this procurement thing. It's time now. I got to get this thing awarded in 30 days, 45 days. I'm using the schedule. Another thing, if you guys are going to be involved with government contracting, I need you to put your hand up right now. Right hand. Okay? See, he put his left hand. Right hand. Okay. And you're going to do this vow, okay? Repeat after me. I will not go on vacation.
I will not go on vacation.
Wait a minute. I will not go on vacation.
I will not go on vacation.
In September.
In September.
I will not go on vacation in September. Okay. So again, that contract vehicle will allow you to use that to get to where you want to be, especially as time is running out. So that's very, very important. The next thing I tell people in terms of that rung is percentages, right? I usually, and I say it in a different way. I'm gonna say it at the risk of being okay, because I think I'm with my friends. But you know, you want to sometimes be than that on the ass of an elephant. Right? I just need 1/10 of 100% of EDS's 400 HP, their $400 million contract, right? If I could get 1/100th of 1% of that, okay? So I tell people, whether you believe it or not, you have two clients. You have the government, and you have the big boys and the big girls that support the government. So you need to go meet them. Go and find out who their supplier diversity people are, the small business liaison office, plug in with that situation, make sure you know there. Okay? We walk around all the time, and you'll hear me say it. SBA is doing everything they can, okay, to get 23% of the work to go to small business. 23% of about $500 billion. But what does that mean by definition? Class? What does it mean? What does it mean? It's a lot of money, but what does it really mean? 23% goes to small business. By definition, what does that mean? 77% goes to somebody that's not small. Huh? So what I'm saying is get that piece through them. Work your little piece of the pie. But that other piece of the pie is serious money. Okay? So I want you to look at that. The next thing on my rung, if you will, is I call it strategic relationships, strategic partnerships. Some of you, I've met some of you guys already. You might be an 8A that's about to graduate. You might be a brand new 8A. You might be looking for somebody to mentor or to be a mentor to. I tell people, this is something that you need to make as part of your marketing plan. Where are you trying to go? Maybe you're trying to become CMMI level 3, and that guy's got it. Maybe you're trying to get a secret security or top secret security clearance. They're already doing it. That's the mentor you want. You don't want somebody to just come to you from a contracting standpoint to take over. So you want somebody in a strategic relationship that you can team up with. You can team up with a lot of different ways. Mentor-protege is one way. Joint venture is another way. That's a marriage, okay? You've just created a third company. So, you know, for those who have been, and you know what that marriage world's all about, okay? It's easy to get into, kind of tough to get out of. So what I'm saying is look at it that way. If it makes sense for you, do it, okay? But those type of relationships, whether it's a mentor, protege, JV, whatever it might be, prime sub. Another thing on prime sub, I tell people, when you are looking at teaming with somebody, you should team with someone who has a very similar culture to what you do, okay? They do what you do, or they can synergistically fit in with what you do. They may have the proprietary software, and you may have something else to bring to the table. But how do the companies gel? What kind of conversations are those folks having? You want to be with somebody that can link up with you synergistically, mentally, and culturally, because that's very, very, very important. Now, what I tell people is when you're putting those deals together, I used to be, I don't know where my Monopoly friends are, but I used to play Monopoly, and I would go around the board with absolutely no money, okay? But I had a piece of paper, okay? The piece of paper was all my deals. It was like, Iris, look, you promised me I could get to Illinois Avenue 4 times without paying rent up front of the rent. So I had all these little deals. What I'm saying is, you got to do that with your relationships. So I'm going to prime an opportunity, you're going to sell. But don't let me get away with 51% and I'm gone and you guys are, you're hoping that something else happens. You need to start writing that deal down. Okay, when we get to this next deal over in HUD, I need you to make me well. You know, I need to try to get some of that back. Maybe it's not dollar for dollar, but I don't want you to just grab my certification and run, whether it's woman-owned or whatever. The top of my pyramid, Maslow used to call it self-actualization. I call it relationship marketing, okay? And when I talk about relationship marketing, it's a lot like what we're going to do after we leave here, okay? So today we're going to meet a number of people, and we're going to find out what they do. Elevator statements are going to be running rampant, okay? And so I know what I do at my core. I got an idea of what Iris does, okay? We talked about it a little bit. She does business coaching, business development, and fundraising, okay? And so if your company's looking to do that, this is what I'm saying, is I'm gonna leave here today, and I'm gonna meet Sarah somewhere, And she's gonna say, you know, I'm really looking for a fundraising kind of company, blah, blah. You know, and I'll write, you'll see it, I'll just write the email. Sarah's Iris, Iris is Sarah. You know, I don't get anything out of that, other than the pleasure of knowing that I brought people together. That's what I want you guys to do. I understand, it's asking you to do a little bit more work, but it's a pay-it-forward mentality, that if you can do that, okay, now you have extra people marketing for your company. So I don't get paid by LinkedIn, but I think it's a good place to be. Okay, just be out there, let people know what you're doing. There's an expression that says, you know, if you want to have friends, you first have to show yourself friendly. Okay, so I'm just saying, when you're out there on LinkedIn, let's say it's a rainy day. Well, it's getting ready to rain today. Cool, okay, if it's a rainy day, go on out there and put something out on LinkedIn. You know, you might have read an article, post it, say, hey, Sarah, that was a great read, I really enjoyed it, boom. You know, but what it's doing is it's keeping you, if you will, in the conversation. That's what Twitter's all about. I don't tweet, but that's what Twitter's all about. It's just being in the conversation, constantly being in the conversation. So what I'm saying is, if you look at relationship marketing from the standpoint of, I'm going to help you, and I hope that you help me, and then we'll meet the other people around the room. That is now a one-to-many conversation instead of a one-to-one conversation. Because one-to-one, you're just burning up shoe leather, and it may or may not happen. But if you can kind of get some extra marketing agents out there, you got something going. I don't know how much time I took, but I took it. So,